Hey everybody, it's Pat Tracy for Punk Rock Blues. Sometimes spooky, always lovable. That's my new catchphrase. My brother doesn't like it. Anywho, so it's currently Tuesday the 15th, and I saw fucking Moonfall tonight with my dad, Dad Tracy. The newest movie by Roland Emmerich, and it was an experience and a half in theaters. See, I went to the theater. Here's my drink. And I'm going to do a spoiler review. It's been a long time since I've made one video about one specific movie, but holy shit, I need to talk about this. I took a bunch of notes on my phone, and I'm going to read them all to you guys. And so yeah, if you want to see Moonfall, which you should, go see Moonfall in theaters, because it's tanking right now. It had a budget of $146 million, one of the most expensive independent movies ever made, which I think the record is still held by Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets, or whatever the hell that movie's called. And yeah, it's only grossed $21.5 million right now, and that's fucking horrible. That is a huge bomb. And so yes, go see this movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, or you don't care, I guess. This is spoilers. Here's a huge spoiler alert. I'm going to ruin this movie. Basically, the plot of the movie is that the moon is falling into Earth, and Patrick Wilson's in it, and Halle Berry's in it, and Patrick Wilson, I don't remember his character name, it's Brian something or other, but I'm calling him Moonfall Man. He's Moonfall Man. So, basically, Moonfall Man is at the start of the movie. He is in space, and he's like talking about this song Africa by Toto, and he's like, I miss the rains in Africa, and then Halle Berry's like, it's bless the rains, you fucking idiot. And also this takes place in 2011 or something like that, and he's like, no, it's miss the rains. And then all of a sudden something goes by and his fucking partner dies, and then he goes back to Earth, and they're like, he's the only astronaut in history to land a space shuttle with no engines. Wow, he's the best astronaut in the world, but he's crazy, man. We're firing him. So he gets fired, and he doesn't talk to Halle Berry for 10 years. So now we're 10 years later, and his son got arrested and for speeding or something like that, and he is in jail, and he goes to the courthouse, and he's like, that's my son, god damn it, get him out of jail, judge. And the judge is like, that's it, you're going to jail. Anywho, he is working on a car to give to his son, and this is the first thing in my notes. That was all set up for the plot. I'm gonna have to explain the plot as I go in my notes, because if you haven't seen it, I need to spoil the whole movie, not just the bits I wrote down. So he's working on a car for his kid, and his radio is like a boombox from like 2002. Like, it's got a CD thing on the top. I'll put a picture or something. I don't know. And his TV it's HD picture because he's watching the news, but it's like 1950s style television, where it's like the square box with the antennas coming out the top and the little knobs, but it's HD picture and widescreen, and it just how does that work? He meets up with this guy who's a conspiracy theorist, and he's a fat old nerd, and his mom's got Alzheimer's, and he's real goofy and weird and awkward, and he takes pills or something. It doesn't matter. His name's Casey. They meet up, and he's like, oh yeah, the moon's a fucking structure, and it's built by aliens or something. And Moonfall Man's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? But I'm gonna stick around, because we gotta move the plot forward. And anywho, they go to this building or whatever to like try and get in touch with NASA, and a huge wave is coming because the moon is falling, and the moon's falling, and it's messing up with gravity, and so there's like a huge wave coming, and there's a scene where they go to the door, and I'm not in frame. Okay, this is a doorway, okay? And they go to the door, and they're like, whoa. There's a giant wave coming. And then they're like, everybody, we gotta go upstairs higher in the building because this wave's coming and it's gonna flood down here. And so they all start running up the stairs, right? And then he turns around and KC is standing still at the door as the wave smashes into him and he starts drowning. And he's like, I can't swim! Help me, save me! And it's like, what the fuck? If you can't swim, why are you standing in front of a fucking wave? Just go up the stairs like they fucking told you. Anyway, next up, they're in a hotel room and KC is talking to fucking Moonfall Man, and then Moonfall Man's like, I've been working my ass off to get back to NASA or whatever, and as he says that, the camera is just a shot of his butt, and I thought that was kind of funny. Also, Casey's cat's name is Fuzz Aldrin, because, you know, the astronaut Buzz Aldrin, but it's Fuzz Aldrin because it's a cat. It's so funny because on the way to the movie, I was telling my dad, I was like, I hope this movie is better than Geostorm, because that one wasn't directed by Roland Emmerich, it was Dean Devlin, but that movie sucked. And I was like, I hope this isn't as bad as that, because I know it's going to be really dumb, because I kind of got the movie spoiled for me by a podcast I listened to, and because I don't care about this movie, but anyway, I knew it was going to be weird. And we go in, and then he gets fired for being the best astronaut in the world, which also happened to Jake Geostorm from the movie Geostorm. And then, like, just multiple things in this plot is literally Geostorm. They just made Geostorm, but it's Moonfall. Anywho, there's 3 separate Elon Musk references in this movie. Like, there's one part where he's like, what would Elon do? And then there's a part where they bring up SpaceX, which is goofy because SpaceX, I'm pretty sure, is going bankrupt. And then there's another part where Casey's like, I love Elon Musk. It's so weird. It's weird. Patrick Wilson, he's in this movie. He plays Moonfall Man. He's fucking great. He's the only good part of this movie, I think. Halle Berry's also in it, and I feel like her performance was wasted. Her character doesn't do much. Doesn't do anything in this movie, really. There's a part where Halle Berry shows up to recruit Moonfall Man. She's like, hey, you're Moonfall Man. You need to save the moon. You're the only guy in the history of guys who's ever landed a spaceship without any engines. You're gonna have to do that again, you fucking bozo. And he's like, are you kidding me? My kid's in jail. I'm not going to help fucking save the moon or whatever. Are you crazy? Whoa. It's Ben Stiller as Moonfall Man. Anyway, he's like, I'm not gonna help you. But then, just when you think you're like, whoa, is the movie over? Is he just not gonna help? He's like, you know what? I will help you, but I want my kid out of jail. And she's like, all right, that can be arranged. He gets out of jail, and then Jake, Moonfall Man, I almost said Jake Geostorm again. Moonfall Man, he's like, they're getting ready to launch the space shuttle. Something goes wrong, and she's like, I'm sending everybody home. Just get the hell out of here and go home. The mission's over, blah, blah, blah. And then fucking Moonfall Man's like, are you kidding me? You guys are gonna leave? We're here to do this mission, and you all fucking fuckers are gonna leave? That's insane. And it's funny to me because he wasn't even gonna help in the first place, and now he's like, you're all gonna give up? After me, Moonfall Man, came here? I don't know, man. It just sounded funny. There's one part in this movie that this is a positive. I feel like I've been ranting about this movie a lot, but this is a positive note. There's a character who introduces an EMP into this movie. And one thing I hate in movies is anytime they mention an EMP, there's always a character who's like, an EMP knocks out all electrical devices in this many radiuses because that's how they work. And we all know what a fucking EMP is. It's in literally every goddamn movie in the world. And so yeah, there's a character who introduces an EMP into the movie, and he just goes, yeah, it's an EMP, and they move on. But here's the con to this pro, is they don't explain what an EMP is, but there's 2 separate scenes where 2 different characters explain how to turn on the EMP. So the guy who introduces it, he's like, here's the EMP, what you gotta do to turn it on is you gotta press this button twice, and then press this button to activate it. And they're like, okay. And then later in the movie, Halle Berry's like, hey, Moonfall Man, do you remember how to turn on the EMP? And he's like, you press this button twice, and then this button to activate it. And she's like, you got it, Moonfall Man. You're so fucking cool. So it's just, I thought that was funny that there's 2 separate scenes explaining how to turn it on, even though they don't explain what it is, which was good. And then, so basically, everyone left the space shuttle launch because she was like, yeah, get out of here. And then Casey's hanging out with the two nerds in the NASA headquarters, and they're like, whoa, the orbit is coming around. We can actually launch the space shuttle and get to the moon. And so then Moonfall Man and Halle Berry, they're like, oh, shit, we got 28 minutes to get this fucking space shuttle launched. Now, how the fuck do you do that in 28 minutes? It's impossible. I feel like it'd be impossible. An airplane can't even... It takes like fucking 4 hours. If you know NASA or space facts, let me know down below. Can you launch a rocket in 28 minutes? It sounds implausible to me. But, so like, we got 28 minutes, suit up. And then fucking Moonfall Man's like, Casey, you fat fucking nerd, you're going to space with us. And he's like, are you kidding me? You gotta take someone else. And he's like, there's no one else. There's nobody else here. You are the only person here. And then they're about to launch, and this random guy who's just got the little airport things, he's still wearing his orange vest standing there, and he's like, oh guys, you gotta go that way to get launched. And it's like, so wait, she sent the entire staff home, everybody that works in the compound except for this one guy who's like in a he's like, oh, I work the parking lot, you know, I don't mind, I'm good, I don't have to go home, the mission's over. And he's like, I don't give up on the mission. Not me. I got these, look at all these people are going home, I have to direct traffic in the parking lot, I got the orange vest, I got these two things, I work for my money. Halle Berry's like, listen, if you're gonna fly this thing to space, can you fly with only 2 engines? And he's like, that's impossible. And he ends up, they launch into space, and the one thruster immediately dies, and so he's like, they're starting to veer off course, and Halle Berry's like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, I'm gonna fly with no engines. And he fucking lets them both go, and he's like, so he thought it was impossible to fly with 2 engines, and he's like, now we're gonna fly with 0 engines. So Moonfall Man he's pretty badass, you could say. Fucking Moonfall Man's son and Halle Berry's son, roommate, or maybe girlfriend, they do not make it clear in this movie. But, so, they're getting away in a Humvee, an army Humvee. They see this rocket taking off, and there's a huge gravity wave coming, and it's gonna fucking take out everything, right? And so they get out of the car, all 3 of them, and they're all standing there watching the fucking space shuttle take off, and the wave just misses the shuttle, and they get out of the way, and then they look at the wave and they're like, oh shit, that's coming right at us, we gotta get in the car. And it's like, so there's 2 separate scenes of people just staring at waves. Then there's a Jonas Brothers joke that I thought was just fucking garbage in this movie. They're talking about their tattoos, and Moonfall Man Jr., he's like, I got this tattoo. She's like, oh, that means Jonas Brothers is your favorite band. He's like, are you serious? And she's like, no, I'm just joking with you. So they finally make it to space, and Casey's taking selfies with his phone. He's like, I'm in space. This fucking guy in 5th grade who told me I would never go to space, I wish he could see me now. Even though fucking meteors are falling and just destroying the planet. That guy from 5th grade probably died. But anyway, I digress. Moonfall Man is talking to Halle Berry, and he's like, oh, by the way, it is Bless the Rains down in Africa. I was wrong. It's like, oh, so you're just dropping that joke from a decade prior? Like, you think she's gonna remember that? Ridiculous. She does remember it in the end, though. She's like, yeah, I told you it was a decade ago. There's multiple scenes in this movie of the moon creeping up on people. This movie should be called Moon Creep instead of Moonfall, because there's parts where they're like in space floating and you can just see the Earth's horizon, you know? They're like looking out at the horizon, and all of a sudden the moon just kind of like creeps up. And it does that like multiple times, like at least 4 times in the movie. The moon's just creeping up on the planet. It's a creep. It's a big old creep. A big old round, bald creep. Moonfall Man and Halle Berry's kids, they meet up with Moonfall Man's ex-wife, who is now married to Michael Pena, which that doesn't really add anything to the plot, so I didn't mention it earlier. But so they're like walking in the mountains under a bridge in the side of a mountain or something so they can be safe, and they run out of oxygen, so they have to get oxygen tanks. And also there's a side plot where they get robbed, which just adds to the runtime so much. This movie's so long. They could have cut out all that. They could have cut out literally all of the robbing stuff, because it's just pointless. So they have oxygen tanks and they're walking up this mountain, and Michael Pena's daughter's tank is broken, so he gives her his, and he's like, I'm walking right behind you. And then he's like, I'm walking right behind you. And then he lays down, and he's like, I love you. And then she gets there, and she's like, oh, Daddy, it was right behind me. And they're all like, oh, no. And then Moonfall Man's son, he's like, takes off his mask, he's like, I can breathe again. And he's like, goes to save him. But then all of a sudden he's got a tree under his... a tree hits him because a meteor falls or whatever. And so then Michelle, who... Yellow.
I'm editing the fruit video.
That's funny. I'm actually filming my Moonfall video right now. I'm on camera, literally answering your phone.
Oh, good. So, am I on speaker or on camera then?
Oh, of course.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to put this in that video then, because I'm cutting it from the fruit video.
Cutting what?
Oh, what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Half of this video is you talking about ejaculate and squirting. Like, you will not stop talking about squirting. I've had to cut, like, so much of you talking about squirting.
Did I really?
You know, in between every cut is you talking about squirting.
Huh. Okay.
So, that's what I wanted to tell you.
Are you editing at work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What else would I do here?
I don't know.
Security was just here.
Hey, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. But also, you shouldn't be doing lean at work. But then, I was talking about Michael Pena, and so he dies, and I was at the tree part. Yeah, so the tree falls on Moonfall Jr., and so Michelle goes after him, and then the moon's creeping up again, and she's like, we're going to use the gravity from the moon to lift the tree off you. And so when the moon goes by, the tree goes up, and they can run away. And I was like, if the tree gets lifted, wouldn't you guys get lifted? The movie's ridiculous. But then the thing falls and breaks the bridge, and they can't get back to the other side where all the other people are. And so then she's like, I got a plan. And they run at it, and they jump, and then the moon gravity pulls them, and then drops them into the thing, and they're safe. But so then Michael Pena's dead. And so the thing, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. But the aliens are kind of like graboids. They're like made of this weird tech stuff. It's maybe in the trailer or something. Go see it. I can't even describe what they look like. It's like what it feels like to chew 5 gum. They just keep smashing against the wall because now it's like fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey, and they're in like a light tube room, and fucking Moonfall Man is getting his brain read by some fucking exposition kid. And then so basically, there's a car chase where they're trying to get away, and meteors are fucking poof, 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 poof. And I think that's a Roland Emmerich classic, where there's always a car chase where things are fucking falling. And like, there was one in 2012, there was one in Independence Day Resurgence where fucking they're driving the school bus and things are fucking falling and shit. So it's a Roland Emmerich classic. Basically all the exposition is that billions of years ago humans lived in space, but then they created an AI, and they lived in these fucking like rings that flew through space looking for worlds to colonize, and humans existed for billions and billions of years, and they created AI because they were like, whoa, we've existed for billions of years, we're lazy, here's an AI, and then the AI fucking turned, like, gained sentience and was like, we actually don't need humans anymore because we're AI. So basically this movie introduces Skynet, and that's cool because it's basically like the Terminator. You seen the Terminator? So Moonfall is moon creep, baby. And then they're gonna use the EMP because the fucking billions of computers, or billions of humans computer mind thing is like, Moonfall Man, you're gonna be the hero of this fucking place. And he's like, listen, I'm gonna put the EMP in the back, I'm gonna detach, you guys are gonna go back to Earth, I'm gonna be the fucking hero because I'm Moonfall Man, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and blow up this EMP. And then he's like, Casey, go fucking look out the back window for me or some shit. And then Casey goes back there, and then they hear the door go, hiss, and Casey's locked himself in the hatch. He's like, you're gonna go down to Earth and you're gonna fucking tell that kid from 5th grade, you're gonna tell him that I'm a hero and then I'm dying and I went to space, motherfucker. But basically, so then Casey goes and the EMP explodes and he takes out the fucking moon, and so then Halle Berry and Well, Casey dies, and so both Michael Pena and Casey die. The deaths meant nothing to me in this movie. Every fucking character could have died, and I wouldn't have cared. There's no emotional connection to any of the characters in this movie. The only performance I really liked was Patrick Wilson, and even his character. If Moonfall Man would have died, I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have bothered me in any way. Anyway, so then they get back to Earth. They get back to Earth, and they meet up with their families, the kids, and fucking Moonfall Man, he looks at Brenda, who's his ex-wife. I believe that's her name, was Brenda. And he's like, Michael Pena didn't make it? And she's like, no. And he's like, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so we went to the moon, and we had to fight the moon, and now the moon's our friend, and it's gonna stop moon creeping on us, and so that's really cool. And so I thought that it literally made me and my dad laugh out loud in the theater. The theater of maybe 5 people besides us were in there. Another positive to this movie is Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry are just friends, and they have this cool friendship where he's like, yeah, she's my work wife, you know, I'm married, she's my work wife or whatever. And then, you know, the 10 years later thing, they're both divorced. And so usually in big budget movies like this, it's always like, oh, the 2 main characters have to fall in love. There's a positive that they didn't, because I think it adds a cool dynamic to the movies. It turns out Casey didn't really die. He had his mind uploaded to the consciousness of this fucking ring thing. And yeah, there was sequel set up, and that's cool. Because Roland Emmerich said if his movie does well, if this movie does well, he's gonna film 2 sequels at the same time. Go see Moonfall. Moon creep. Moonfall, moon creep. The moon's creeping me out. Casey becomes part of the moon. That's my last one. That's all the things I wrote while watching this fucking dumbass movie that I loved. My overall rating of this, I'd give it 2 out of 5 stars. Because 1 star would be like Geostorm. And this was better than Geostorm. But this was not a good movie in any way. The dialogue sucked. It was very predictable, and it was so fucking stupid and dumb. And every character was expendable to me, and nobody fucking mattered, and I couldn't have cared less. Like I said, if Patrick Wilson himself died in the opening act, I wouldn't have cared. Also, there's this one... This is totally off topic, but there's this one scene where he shows up at a conspiracy theorist meeting, and he rides up on his motorcycle, and he turns it off, and the camera zooms in to show that he turns he turns his keys off, and then walks away, leaving his keys there. And I thought in my head, I was like, okay, so he just left his motorcycle parked with the keys in it. It's gonna get stolen, right? No, doesn't happen. So, why'd they zoom in on that? Who fucking knows? But Roland Emmerich got 100% creative control in this movie. And that's cool, because now I know this is 100% exactly what he wants. And I love the fact that this exists, because it sucked. And I loved it. And my dad gave it 3 stars. I previously said just a minute ago I gave it 2. And now this is dragging out, so yeah, give this a thumbs up and go see this movie, or if you have seen this movie, let me know what the fuck you thought about it, because this was a whirlwind of emotion for me, so bye.